You ever look at a huge problem, something like loneliness, and just think, it's too big that one person can't possibly make a difference? Well, today, we're going to dig into how small local actions are not only fighting back, but they're actually winning. And the best part, we're going to show you how you could get the funding to start one yourself. Let's do this. This quote, it's from the Islanders Youth and Community Center on Portland, and it just hits home, doesn't it? You hear that same sentiment in communities all over the country. It's this quiet crisis that's happening right under our noses. And listen, we're not just talking about feelings here. The numbers, they back this up in a big way. According to Age UK, a pretty staggering 49% of people aged 75 and over live alone. Think about that. That's nearly 1 out of every 2 people in that age group facing this challenge. So let's just frame this properly. What we're really looking at is a loneliness epidemic. And it's so much more than just someone feeling a bit down. It is a full-blown, measurable crisis that has huge effects on people's health and, the fabric of our communities. Okay, so it's super important we get this distinction right. Social isolation, that's objective. It's about the number of people you have around you, something you can literally count. But loneliness, that's about the quality of those connections. It's that deep gut feeling of missing something meaningful. You can be in a packed stadium and still feel completely and utterly alone. And here's the thing that might surprise you. While we often picture an elderly person when we think of loneliness, the data tells a totally different story. This thing is cross-generational. Get this, almost 1 in 10 young people feel lonely often, and the group that reports feeling it the most, people aged 25 to 34. Even kids are feeling it more and more. Wow. This quote from a youth worker just says it all, right? It shows how sneaky loneliness can be. He said that some young people didn't realize they were lonely until they got out again. It's not always this big, loud alarm bell. Sometimes it's just a quiet absence, one you only notice once it's filled. Okay, but here's where the story starts to change. This is the good part. For every single statistic about this problem, there are people out there on the ground, building the solution. They are tapping into the incredible power of human connection. Now, a really big part of the solution is something called social prescribing. It sounds a little clinical, I know, but trust me, it's actually beautiful in its simplicity. It's basically a way for a doctor or a local agency to write a prescription, not for a pill, but for people. They refer you to a link worker who can plug you into all the amazing things happening right in your own neighborhood. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, it could be a Saturday support group for parents of kids with autism. Or maybe it's a Friday social club for older folks with a hot meal and a game of cards. It could even be a community garden where people learn to grow and cook food together. These are all real projects happening right now. And the goal of all of this, it's not just about keeping people busy. It's about empowerment. It's about giving people the tools to build their own resilience, to find their own support systems. And yeah, in the process, it takes a whole lot of pressure off the NHS. It's about getting ahead of the problem, not just reacting to it. This all sounds incredible, right? But these amazing ideas, they need fuel in the tank to actually work. So let's pull back the curtain and talk about the mechanism. Let's follow the money that turns these ideas into reality. So generally, the funding for this kind of work comes from a few main places. You've got your super local community foundations, your big national funds like the lottery, foundations started by companies, and of course, local trusts that have been supporting their communities for years. And check this out, you can see just how specific the funding can be. If your idea is all about tackling mental health and isolation, bam, the DCF Neighborhood Fund is a great place to look. Focusing on loneliness in the over 65s, the McCarthy Stone Foundation has a fund specifically for that. The secret sauce is finding that perfect fit, the funder whose mission is perfectly in sync with yours. All right, so you've got this brilliant idea. You've got a sense of who might fund it. Now for the really important part. Crafting a proposal that actually stands out and gets you the cash. Okay, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. It all, and I mean all, starts with need. A funder's very first question is always going to be why. Why is this necessary? You have to prove with data and with stories that the problem you're trying to solve is real and that your idea is the right solution. The folks at NCVO, the National Council for Voluntary Organizations, they're the pros. They break it down into these 5 keys, and it's a fantastic roadmap. 1, prove the need. 2, show your plan step by step. 3. Create a budget that actually makes sense. 4. Explain how you're going to know if you succeeded. And 5. Show them you've thought about what happens next, after the grant runs out. And let's do some really simple do's and don'ts. Do, use clear language. Do, target the right funder. Don't try to twist your brilliant project into a weird shape just to fit a grant that isn't right for it. And this sounds so obvious, but please, don't submit a scruffy, messy application. The details matter. They show you're serious and can be trusted with their money.
So, you feeling inspired? Ready to start the hunt? These are some fantastic places to begin your search. A lot of them are totally free directories that list thousands of opportunities. It's really all about doing that homework to find the perfect match for your big idea.
So what's the big idea here? At the end of the day, it's this. These small, local, grassroots projects, they aren't just a nice to have. They are a powerful, effective, and absolutely essential weapon in the fight against massive problems like loneliness. I think this summary from Grant Robson over at the Dorset Community Foundation just nails it. It's about more than just a hot meal. It's about companionship. It's about solace. It's about inspiration. It's about passionate people making a huge, huge difference right where they live. So I'm going to leave you with this one question, a challenge really. It doesn't have to be some huge registered charity. What's one small thing, one simple idea that you could start in your community to build just one more connection? Because that, right there, that's how it all begins.